Hello students, welcome to my channel Bhavya Physics. Today we are going to discuss derivations of second PU Physics chapter 1, that is electric charges and fields. Yes, there are 5 derivations asked for 5 marks. So the first one is electric field due to dipole on an axial line and electric field due to dipole on an equatorial line. So these both the derivations are important. And next one is application of Gauss law. There are 3 applications of Gauss law. We need to derive the relation for electric field due to thin charged wire, thin plane sheet and thin spherical shell. So let us derive all these 5, one by one. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe my channel. Your little support means a lot for me. And if this video is helpful, please like, share and comment. Okay. Now, so first one is electric field due to dipole at a point on an axial line. So for this, first you have to write the diagram. Diagram always carries 1 mark. So in electric field is a vector quantity, that's why it is very important to know down the direction. Okay. So dipole means what? Equal and unlike charges separated by small distance called as dipole. Let us consider minus q at A and plus q at B. They are separated by small distance, let it be 2a. Okay. So that if O is the center of the dipole, both the charges are at a distance a from center. Okay. Small a is a distance of each charge from the center. So this is called as a system. The system is called as dipole. Dipole consists of 2 equal and unlike charges. Now, dipole moment is a vector quantity. It acts from negative charge to positive charge. Okay, this is a direction of dipole moment, negative to positive. Now, our intention is to get the electric field due to dipole on an axial line. Extend this line further on either side. That line is called as axial line. I'll take a point P on an axial line. Anywhere you can consider. Let this point be at a distance r from the center. Okay. Is it clear for you? What is this? The point P is at a distance r from the center. So first let us write here dipole moment is q into 2a. This is a way of writing dipole moment. It is one of the charge into distance between them. P is a dipole moment, q into 2a. Now let us write the direction of electric field due to negative charge. See, you need to imagine one unit positive charge here. So then, unit positive charge is attracted by negative, right? Negative charge. That's why electric field at P due to negative charge is towards it. Okay. So I'll name it as E minus Q. Is it clear for you? So to find out electric field at any point, you need to imagine one unit positive test charge. So unit positive test charge, this is always positive. So it is attracted by negative. That's why what is the direction of electric field? Towards the negative. And now positive charge. If the source charge is positive, it produces electric field away from it. So this will be the direction of electric field due to positive. I'll just name it as E plus Q. Now let us write the expression for electric field. We know that it is constant K source divided by square of the distance. This is a expression, right? Using this, let us write E minus Q. So it is constant K. Source is Q. See, even if it is minus, you should write only Q divided by square of the distance. So what is the distance of point P from the source? Point P is at a distance R from the center. Center to minus Q is at A. Then total distance is R plus A. And what is the direction? Now let us write in vector form, magnitude followed by direction. See here, you are observing here that E minus Q is acting towards the negative charge. That means it is opposite to the direction of dipole moment. So that's why let us write it as minus P cap, where P cap is a unit vector which shows the direction of vector P. Now E plus Q is a electric field due to positive charge. Once again it is constant K. Source is Q only plus Q. So just write it as Q. and square of the distance. So point P is at a distance, see, R from the center, but we need the distance of P from plus Q, so that is R minus A. You need to subtract this distance O to B. O to B is A, we don't need that distance, so R minus A whole square. And what is the direction? E plus Q acts along the direction of dipole moment, so plus P cap. Okay, like this we are writing electric field. Now total electric field at P, total electric field or resultant electric field means, let us add this, E minus Q plus E plus Q. Okay, resultant. So when we are adding these two, here we are writing like this, constant K, you can also write it as 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. And what is the common term, which is Q? Q you write outside, okay? And remaining is, here one is R plus A, L, see here denominator you write as it is, and another one is, so let me write this minus P cap. So minus P cap is there, so I'll write minus here, okay? And next one is plus 1 over R minus A whole square, and P cap let me write outside. So is it clear? Q is common, let us take it outside. P cap is common, I have taken outside. Now, so minus P, I'll write here, okay? Now let us write the LCM. So here R plus A into R minus A is LCM. So LCM, that is R plus A into R minus A is R square minus A square. And since here there is a square, you square it. Now, say Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is common. Remaining term you write inside the bracket. Cross multiply. Say R plus A whole square is already there. So you just multiply this, cross multiply, minus R minus A whole square plus R plus A whole square. You can also write this term here and minus term here, one and the same, okay? You can also write the first term as a second term, okay? Now let us expand this. So in next we will expand, that is here R square plus A square minus 2RA, okay? Minus I write outside, R square plus A square minus 2RA is an expansion, and here this is plus R square plus A square plus 2RA is an expansion, and write this denominator as it is, like this. Now cancel the common terms. See here R square and minus R square cancel, and A square minus A square cancel, because if you multiply here it is minus A square, and minus into minus is plus 2RA, plus 2RA becomes plus 4RA. Let me write this as Q into, see, plus 4RA. I'll write that 4RA as 2R into 2A, okay? I'll write it as 2A into 2R. 2 into 2 is 4, 4RA divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R square minus A square to the power 2. So, but we know that P is Q into 2A. Q into 2A is called as dipole moment. That's why let me write this as here electric field in vector form. See, P, Q into 2A is P. So, that is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught P into 2R divided by R square minus A square to the power 2. Now, the point P is on the axial line at a distance R from the center, right? So, dipole means it is the distance between two charges very small. It is in terms of millimeter, okay? H plus Cl minus is a dipole, right? So, the distance between them is very, very small. So, it is in terms of millimeter. Whereas, the point we considered is at a distance R means it is in centimeter. So, this R is very much greater than A. That means R square term, see here R square is very much greater than A square, or A square can be neglected. Okay, so A square can be neglected because A square is subtracted by R square, right? So that means here you can neglect A square term. If you neglect a square term in the denominator, then there is only r square. R square is r to the power 4. That means you can cancel one r term. So then final equation is electric field at axial line, at a point on the axial line, is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and 2p. See, r and r cancelled, and in the denominator there is r cube. Okay, one r term cancelled, so there is only one r cube, p cap. So this is a final expression for electric field at a point on the axial line. So you need to remember this expression. Constant k is also written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2p by r cube into p cap. So that means here electric field at a point on the axial line is along the direction of dipole moment. It acts in this direction, along the direction of dipole moment. Okay, this is a meaning, right? Is it clear? So if there is any confusion, or if you want to ask anything regarding this, please do comment. Okay, now let us see next one, equatorial line. Second one is electric field due to dipole at a point on an equatorial line. So this equatorial line is a line which is passing through the center. Okay, so this line is also called as perpendicular bisector. Okay, so let us consider a point P on this line, equatorial line. So here you have to imagine one unit positive test charge. So unit positive test charge is repelled by positive source, right? So dipole is nothing but plus q minus q separated by small distance. Okay, the total distance between them is 2a, and dipole moment is q into 2a, which is acting from negative to positive charge. This is a direction of dipole moment. So plus q produces electric field away from it. You just extend this line joining point P to plus q. Okay, extend that line further. That is a direction of electric field due to plus q. And minus q attracts this unit positive test charge. So put an arrow mark towards this, okay, negative charge. So here there are two electric fields. Okay, this is electric field due to negative charge. You can name it as E1, E2, or let me write here E minus q. Now, to find out total electric field, you are observing here that these two electric field make certain angle, right? That's why we are considering here parallelogram law of vector addition, because electric field is a vector quantity. To find out resultant electric field, we are using parallelogram law of vector addition. So, you have to construct a parallelogram by considering opposite sides are parallel. See, these two sides are parallel, okay? And resultant electric field acts along the diagonal taken from same point, point P, okay? Now, let us write, see, this angle is theta, means, see here, this angle is also theta. If I consider this angle is theta, then this is theta. So that means total angle between two electric fields is 2 theta. Okay. Now, using Pythagoras, here you can see one right angle triangle, and here there is one more. So let us consider this right angle triangle. This side is A and this side is R, means what about this hypotenuse? It is square root of R square plus A square. Similarly here, square root of R square plus A square. So now let us use this expression for electric field. So how to write electric field due to positive charge? See, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Source charge is plus q or minus q, just write q, okay? Q divided by square of the distance. See, the point P is at a distance, square root of R square plus A square from plus q, square it. Square and square root cancel, so you should write only R square plus A square. While squaring, square and square root cancel, so you just write this much, okay? And no need of writing in vector form, you just keep as it is. So let me write this as equation 1. Similarly, electric field due to minus q. And student, one more thing, diagram carries 1 mark and you should write explanation regarding this diagram, okay? Say for example, consider a dipole of dipole moment P is equal to Q into 2A. So separated by a distance of 2A, okay? So like that. And here the line passing through the center is called as equatorial line. Let P be a point at a distance R from the center O. This much is enough, okay? And to find electric field at P, so electric field due to plus Q, you write this expression, and in sentence you write electric field at P due to minus Q is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So don't write minus Q, just write the magnitude, okay? So in first lesson, you are not writing sign, okay? First lesson. In second lesson, you should write its sign. Now, Q divided by square of the distance, that is R square plus A square. Okay, so call it as equation 2. If you look at these two equations, you are observing here that both the equations are same. Not resultant electric field. Let us use this expression. In first PUC, you have used this R is equal to square root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. That relation here, E plus Q whole square plus E minus Q whole square plus 2 times E plus Q, E minus Q cos theta, like this. But these two are equal, right? So that's why here it repeats, right? Both are equal. Let me write E plus Q and E minus Q are equal to E plus Q. How many times it comes? Twice. So 2 times. Again 2 times. See, let me write this E minus Q is equal to E plus Q. E plus Q, E plus Q repeat twice. So that is cos of angle between them. So what is the angle between two? It is cos 2 theta. So cos 2 theta. Now in these two terms, 2E plus Q is common, right? So now let me write 1 plus cos 2 theta. It is inside the square root. So now we know that 1 plus cos 2 theta is equal to 2 times cos square 2 theta by 2. Okay, 2 theta by 2. That is equal to 2 times cos square theta. Let me substitute here. So electric field, total electric field at point P is 2 times E plus Q square. See, E plus this plus Q, don't write together, okay? It is a suffix, E plus Q, and into 2 times cos square theta. Now 2 into 2 is 4. 4 square root is 2. See here E square is there. Square and square root cancel. You will get just E plus Q. And cos square, square and square root cancel. You will get only cos theta. So this is the expression for electric field. Now let us use this right hand triangle. So here cos theta is adjacent by hypotenuse. So cos theta is equal to, so you can use any 1/2 right angle triangle, either this one or this one. Adjacent by hypotenuse. Adjacent side is A, hypotenuse is square root of R square plus A square. R square plus A square. Let me substitute here. E is equal to 2 into E plus Q. See, both are same. You can write E minus Q or E plus Q, one and the same. So that is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by R square plus A square into cos theta, which is A divided by R square plus A square to the power half. See, square root means the power is half. Okay. So therefore here we know that but 2A into Q is nothing but dipole moment. Okay. So that's why electric field is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Let me write first. And 2AQ is nothing but P divided by R square plus A square to the power. See here there is 1. The power is 1. And here it is half. 1 plus half is 3 by 2. Right? So it is 3 by 2. So this is our expression for electric field. Now for short dipoles. Short dipole means here the distance between equal and unlike charge is very small. So that is 2A is very small. If 2A is very small means A square can be neglected by comparing it with R square. A square term can be neglected. So if I cancel A square, there is only R square. See here, r square to the power 3 by 2 means 2 cancel and you will get r cube in the denominator. Then what is the expression for electric field on the equatorial line? Let me write it as EE. It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught P divided by r cube. This is the expression for electric field on the equatorial line. What is the direction of electric field? See, electric field and dipole moment. If you look at these two, see, dipole moment opposite to the electric field. That's why electric field on the equatorial line is opposite to the direction of dipole moment. That's why let us write it as minus P cap. Minus P cap. So this is the expression for electric field at a point on equatorial line. Now let us compare it with axial line. Already we got the expression for axial line. It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2p by r cube into p cap. Right? So what is the difference here? Electric field due to axial line acts along the direction of dipole moment, whereas equatorial line acts opposite to the direction of dipole moment. Another one is electric field on axial line is 2 times p. Here it is just p. That means electric field on axial line is twice that of equatorial line. This is one of the important point. EA is 2 times EE. Is it clear, students? If you have any confusion, please do comment, okay, in the comment section. Now let us solve the application of Gauss law. Now let us consider the third derivation, which is application of Gauss law. What is Gauss law? This is one of the important questions asked for 2 marks. State and explain Gauss law. Total electric flux through any closed surface in free space is equal to 1 over epsilon naught times net charge enclosed by that surface. So this surface, closed surface, is an imaginary surface called as Gaussian surface. Whatever the charge enclosed by that Gaussian surface has to be considered, and if the charge is outside the Gaussian surface, which is not considered, okay. So using this Gauss law, here we are solving electric field. We are going to get the expression for electric field due to infinitely long, thin, charged wire. Okay, the wire is a one-dimension picture, right? So this wire is infinitely long. Okay, that is very large wire which is charged. Charge means either positive or negative. Positive charges produces electric field radially outwards. Okay, it always acts away from it. Negative charged wire produces electric field radially inward towards it. Okay, now let us consider wire. See here, if the solid line indicates it is a finite size having the length L, finite length of the wire is L. And if you put a dot marks here, it extends up to infinity. The length of the wire extends up to infinity, so it is shown by the dotted lines. And electric field due to this wire is acting away from it in this direction, okay, on either side. In this direction, electric field acts like this on either side of the wire. So to find electric field at any point, okay, so the point may be somewhere here. Let me write, this is a point P which is at a distance R from the wire. So you need to imagine one closed surface. So here we are imagining, here we need to imagine one Gaussian cylinder. So this dotted line indicates that it is an imaginary surface and that surface is Gaussian cylinder. Gaussian cylinder is having length L, okay, or height of the cylinder is L and area is A. Is it clear? Height of this cylinder is L, where L is a finite size of the wire, right? So that means Gaussian cylinder should include this part of the wire, okay, this part of the wire. So here this wire is one dimension. Then there is one concept comes into picture, that is linear charge density. Linear charge density is nothing but charge per unit length. Charge per unit length. Okay. So this finite size of the wire which consists of Q amount of charge, then lambda called as linear charge density, which can be written as Q by L, or Q can be written as lambda L. Okay, Q is equal to lambda L. This is applicable to macroscopic bodies. Okay, here we have taken one dimension, very large charged wire. If it is a microscopic bodies and the charges are not continuous, in case of discrete charges, okay, charges quantized, then we are writing Q as Ne, plus or minus Ne, right? Whereas for macroscopic bodies, we are writing Q as, if it is one dimension, it is lambda L. Now, so to find the electric field at any point, here we have imagined one Gaussian cylinder, right? So this Gaussian cylinder is having three surfaces. See, upper surface, lower surface and cylindrical surface. So if you look at this upper and lower surface, what is the direction of area? So here you can see upper surface is, it is curved, right? So this upper surface is circle, right? Circular surface, and the direction of this acts upward, right? So if I consider area is ds, it acts upward. This is a direction of area, and electric field is acting in this direction, right? Electric field always acts radially outward. What is the angle between them? 90 degree, right? Then how to write flux? So flux through first surface, let me write it as E ds cos theta. E ds cos theta. Here theta is angle between electric field and area. Area is upward, right? So if I consider this, see here, this pen itself is, pen or chalk is a cylindrical in shape. So if I look at this top surface, it is acting upwards. So if you look at this lower surface, or upper surface is upward, lower surface is acting downward, right? So therefore, so this upper surface is upward direction and electric field is radially outward in this way. So angle between them is 90 degree. Cos of 90 degree is 0. Cos 90 is 0 means flux through first surface is 0. Similarly, flux through second surface is also 0 because the direction of area is downward and electric field is acting in this direction. Or if you consider this side, electric field is acting in this direction, so that it makes an angle 90 degree with area. Once again, flux through that is 0, right? What do you mean by flux? Total number of electric field lines passing normally through this surface. Is there any electric field lines passing in upward direction? No. Electric field line starts from positive, ends on negative. So that means electric field lines are moving in this way. Or if it is moving in this way. So electric field lines are parallel. See, it is like this. Electric field lines are like this, or it is not moving upward or downward. So electric flux through upper surface and lower surface is 0. So we need to calculate electric flux through curved surface. That is this one, third surface. Okay. So how to calculate electric flux through third surface? It is, say here we need to divide this into curved surface into large number of small segments. Let me write this one segment is having area ds. Okay. Area of this segment is ds. And if I draw outward normal shows a direction of this area which is along the direction of electric field. Wherever you consider this segment, okay, and if you draw outward normal, it is along the direction of electric field. Outward normal shows the direction of area, it is along the direction of electric field. Then to find out total electric flux, you need to take summation E ds cos theta, where theta is equal to 0 degree, cos of 0 degree is 1. So electric field at each and every point is same. So that's why electric field is common. Let me write it outside. You are adding only ds. Cos of theta is 1. So summation ds gives total surface area of this cylinder. Total surface area of the cylinder. But what is the surface area of cylinder? It is 2 pi r into L, where L is the height of the cylinder. 2 pi r h is a surface area of cylinder. Here we need to write L. So like this, we came to know that total flux through entire Gaussian cylinder is phi is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Phi 1 and phi 2 are 0. Therefore, we need to write only phi 3, which is E into 2 pi RL. Let me call this as equation 1. Now let us use Gauss law. Gauss law says that flux is 1 over epsilon naught into Q. So that is flux is 1 over epsilon naught into Q, where Q is lambda L. Let me write this as equation 2. Now equate 1 and 2. So that is E into 2 pi RL is equal to 1 over epsilon naught lambda L. See, L and L cancel. Therefore, let us write electric field. See, this 2 pi R goes to denominator, which is 2 pi epsilon naught and lambda divided by R. This is the expression for electric field. What is the direction of electric field? See, electric field acts along this direction or radially outward. Let me write this as R cap in vector. Expression for electric field due to infinitely long charged thin wire. Next application is electric field due to charged thin plane sheet. Okay, plane sheet. So the plane sheet is charged on both the sides. Okay, either positively or negatively. So what happens? See, let us consider like this. Okay, so here this is a plane sheet which is infinitely long plane sheet. It is completely charged. So either this side or this side, both the side it is charged means what happens if it is positively charged, then electric field acts away from it. Here this is a direction of electric field, or if you consider this side, electric field acts like this. Okay, electric field acts on both the sides like this. This side as well as this side, horizontal to this plane sheet. And now to find out electric field at any point, we need to imagine one Gaussian cylinder. For example, let us consider a pen like this, pencil. So you need to insert a Gaussian cylinder like this. Okay, like this. To find electric field here or here, okay, you are imagine one Gaussian cylinder like this. Okay. Now, here there are three surfaces. Say one is this surface, okay. Another one is this surface. That means the ends of both the ends, circular ends of the cylindrical. And another one is a curved surface. Say one is this circular end. This is another circular end, and another one is curved part of the cylinder. So total there are three surfaces. We need to find out total electric flux through these three surfaces. Okay. First, let us consider, say this is a plane sheet. Whatever we consider now, this is plane sheet. So plane sheet means it is two-dimension picture. Here, surface charge density comes into picture. Okay. So two-dimension means the term surface charge density. We need to define surface charge density here. So what is surface charge density? Sigma is charge per unit area. Two dimension is having area. One dimension is having only length. See, any one dimension you need to consider. If it is a wire, just length. Okay, one dimension means only one measure. See, after measurement, you are just saying its length. Okay, so our height. So that is called as one dimension. In case of wire, it is length. Two dimension means here length into breadth. Together we are calling it as area. So charge included in given area. Charge per area is called as surface charge density, sigma. Okay, so this is a relation. Now, so to find electric field, we need to calculate electric flux through first surface. Let me consider this is a first surface. See, here you can see this first surface is circular, and if you draw outward normal, it shows a direction of area. Outward normal is along the direction of electric field, right? Both are along same direction, means theta is 0. What is the expression for electric flux? Electric field area into cos of theta. Theta is 0 degree, cos 0 is 1. So therefore, phi 1 is equal to E into area. So let me write the area of this surface. Area of this circular surface is A, or area of this cylinder is A. So therefore, EA. Call it as equation 1. Similarly, flux through second surface is again this curved, say this one, circular surface. Flux is, what is that? Area is acting outward normal. Area is acting along the direction of electric field. Therefore, we will come to know that flux through second surface is also equal to EA. Let me write this as equation 2. Flux through curved surface is E ds cos theta. Here, in cylindrical surface, see this is a cylindrical surface, right? So here, if you draw outward normal, it is upward direction, right? So that means outward normal is perpendicular to electric field. Cos of theta, theta is 90 degree, cos 90 is 0. That means flux through curved surface is 0. Then total flux is phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Phi 3 is 0. If you add this, you will get 2EA. Let me call this as equation 3. Now let us use Gauss law. According to Gauss law, total flux is 1 over epsilon naught into Q. So that is 1 over epsilon naught into Q, where Q can be written as sigma into A. Call it as equation 4. Now compare 3 and 4. So equate 3 and 4. Here 2EA is equal to 1 by epsilon naught into sigma A. So A and A cancel. Electric field can be written as 1 divided by, say 2 goes to denominator, 2 epsilon naught into sigma. So this is the expression for electric field, right? In vector form, what is the direction of electric field? Electric field acts like this, right? So, or electric field acts, here it is acts in this direction, radially outward. Let me write n cap. N cap shows the direction of electric field. The next one, third derivation is electric field. Derive an expression for electric field due to uniformly charged thin spherical shell. So, compared to 3 application of Gauss law, this is very important question asked for 5 marks. So here first we need to draw the diagram. So spherical shell which is positively charged, or you can also consider negatively charged. So radius of this shell is capital R and O be the center of the shell. Now to find out electric field outside the shell, okay, so where is a point P is outside the shell. Here we need to consider one Gaussian surface, which is, again I'll consider a sphere, Gaussian sphere. Okay, so this dotted line is a Gaussian sphere, and this Gaussian sphere includes this point, so that the distance of point from this center is nothing but small r, which is equal to radius of the Gaussian sphere. So this Gaussian sphere is an imaginary sphere, okay. So small r is a distance of point P from the center, which is nothing but radius of the Gaussian sphere, okay. Now here let us calculate flux. Flux means what is the direction of electric field lines? Electric field line starts from positive charge. That means it is outward normal, right? So electric field lines acts in this direction, normally outward. So we need to find out electric field lines, total number of electric field lines passing through Gaussian surface. So that is called as flux, total flux. So how to find out total flux? Total flux is equal to summation E ds cos theta. Okay. So here cos theta, theta is angle between electric field and area. So we need to divide this Gaussian surface into large number of small segments, each of area ds or delta s. Now, if you draw outward normal to this area, say for example, if I consider here, this is a direction of electric field, and if I consider an area and draw outward normal and electric field both are along same direction. Wherever you consider that area, electric field and area acts along same direction, so that theta is equal to 0 degree. Theta is 0 means cos of 0 degree is 1. Therefore, total flux is equal to summation E ds. So electric field is same everywhere. So let us write outside. You are adding only the area. If you add area, you are going to get total area of the Gaussian sphere. So what is the total area of Gaussian sphere? It is surface area of sphere is 4 pi r square. So small r. Okay. Small r is the radius of the Gaussian sphere. Let me write this as equation 1. Now let us use Gauss law. Gauss law is 1 over epsilon naught into Q. Okay. Here we are using surface charge density only, that is Q by A, where Q divided by A is the area of this spherical shell. So shell is a sphere, so that's why area of sphere is 4 pi capital R square. Then how to write Q? Q can be written as sigma into 4 pi R square. Let me write that here. So phi is equal to 1 by epsilon naught into Q, where Q is sigma into 4 pi R square. I'll call this as equation 2. So comparing 1 and 2, so left hand side is same, let us equate right hand side, that is E into 4 pi R square is equal to 1 over epsilon naught sigma into 4 pi capital R square. Okay. So then 4 pi cancel. So here let us write E into R square is equal to sigma capital R square divided by epsilon naught. Or you can write E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught capital R square by small r square. Okay. You can consider this as one of the equation. Now let me write sigma as Q by 4 pi r square. So sigma is Q divided by 4 pi r square into epsilon naught r square by small r square. So this r square cancel. Therefore, what is the expression for electric field? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by r square. So this is our expression for electric field. So when point is outside the spherical shell, which the point is at a distance small r, the expression for electric field is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square, where Q is a total charge placed on the spherical shell, okay, surface of the spherical shell. So from this equation it is clear that entire charge is assumed to be concentrated at the center, so that electric field at this point is entire charge is concentrated at the center. So if I consider a point charge here, what is the expression for electric field at a distance r? It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. So same expression we got here, right? Now, so if the point is on the surface, then r is how much? R is equal to capital R, right? R is equal to capital R. So here we need to write when this when the point is outside, this is our expression. When the point is on the surface, okay, point is on the surface, let me write ER, which is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by capital R square. Suppose if the point is inside, if the point P is inside, then you have to consider a Gaussian surface like this. Okay. So from Gauss law, what is the expression? Gauss law says that total electric flux through any closed surface in free space is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times net charge enclosed by that surface. If the point is inside the surface, inside the shell, then see here you have imagined a closed surface, Gaussian surface. Then is there any charges inside this surface? No. Since there is no charge inside this Gaussian surface, so charge is 0. Therefore, electric field is also 0. Electric field inside is 0. So, if I plot a graph by taking electric field along y-axis and r along x-axis, then See, from the center till the surface, that is when R is less than capital R. Okay, from center till this, there is no electric field. Electric field is 0 inside the shell. So electric field is 0 means the line is on the x-axis. Electric field is 0 till capital R. Okay, till capital R. So at capital R, what happens? Electric field on the surface, what happens? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. As distance increases, electric field decreases here. Right? So because electric field and distance are inversely proportional. So here, when on the surface, electric field is maximum and decreases exponentially. So the graph looks like this. As distance increases, electric field decreases, and electric field is inversely proportional to square of the distance. That's why the graph is exponential curve. It is not straight line. If it is just R, then it is a straight line. Since it is square, so graph is exponential. Okay, so exponential curve, so it decreases as electric field decreases as distance increases. Okay, so if here in this video I solved or I have explained all 5 derivations of chapter 1 electric charges and fields. If this video is helpful, please like and share with your friends, and please comment your opinion. So see you in next video. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.